Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast. Plus Dan, I'm going to say plus Dan now because Dan is pretty much on every single podcast we do, talking about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL, the National Ice Hockey League. Happy New Year, happy 2024. Charlie, how are you feeling today? New year. Yeah, the podcast has been
Tired,
amazing so far.
but bagged out protein shake, ready for a fun podcast, and we qualified for the semi-final.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Of course, I've started the new year with the Pepsi Max. Dan, I'm guessing you've got no drink.
No, I have actually got
Oh,
water.
yes,
There we
hydrated.
go.
Nice. I think
Pushing
this
the
is the
boat out.
first podcast where all three of us have actually got a drink. So yeah, here's to 2024, lads. And we've actually got a mid-season quiz. Well, I've got a quiz and I'm going to be quizzing these two. I've got 10 questions for them, and we're going to see who comes out on top. And you guys at home can play along as well. It's for the National Ice Hockey League. So yeah, I thought I'd just start quickly. I'm just going to get this out of the way. We got some feedback from the last podcast, obviously on all the breaking news and the referees and helping the referees and the DOPs and everything like that. I just want to put this out there. We do not want to come across at all as a negative podcast on referees. We've spoke many times in previous podcasts about how we're all for referees, and without them, we wouldn't be able to have the game we love and enjoy. And I felt like the message of our last podcast we tried to get across was we think that video replays would be a great step forward to help referees making big decisions, which sometimes they make mistakes on. I just want to apologize again, reiterate that I apologize for that tweet I put out. It wasn't a terrible tweet. I just worded it badly and said it was a massive mistake when 99% of people probably would have missed that goal as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're not against referees at all. We're actually for referees because without them, we wouldn't be able to play the game. And yeah, they've got a very tough job as it is. And I feel like, lads, we all can criticize the referees, and I think we all do it in a respectful way if we are to criticize referees. But we all, yeah, the game, we wouldn't have the wonderful game without them. Is there anything to add on that, lads?
Nope.
No,
Nah.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, let's get on to it then, because it has been a brilliant week, and we're going to start with the Swindon Wildcats because, yeah, a lot's happened
Come
with them.
on.
We qualified for the cup. We beat the whole Seahawks. We did have to
Yeah.
rely on the MK Lightning beating the Peterborough Phantoms, which they did in overtime, and Ross Venus scored a through the legs goal. You two were actually at the game. I had Cheltenham Town duties. Charlie's been calling me a fake fan for the past 2 weeks. But yeah, lads, how's the game? The Wildcats come out on top, 8-3 victory, securing us that semi-final spot. Dan, we'll start with you. From an outsider view, the Wildcats dominated, didn't they?
Yeah, it was just all one way really. After the first goal went in for Hull, you'd think they'd have sort of built a bit of momentum, but after that, it was just a one way street really for Swindon. I
Yeah.
think they sort of lost their head a bit when Matty Davies got his just like obviously got his game
Yeah.
penalty. I think it all just went out the window. All the players, you could see all their heads dropping. They just didn't really. They didn't seem like the whole that we watched at the start of the season when they beat you in penalty shootout.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. You saw the difference. Obviously, we played them in our first game. We didn't have any training sessions before that first game, and they outplayed us. But in this game, Charlie, it was completely different. We had a full team pretty much, all of the players back. Bebris, Malazinski, Lebuele, which is a bit controversial for some people. But yeah, especially Aaron now, the big head coach stepping up, the player coach stepping up itself. We love Aaron. He gets a massive hat-trick goal as well, Charlie. You were absolutely buzzing, weren't you?
Oh, this flipping team. The fact that we managed to qualify for a semi-final when we played 13 out of 20 games away.
Yeah.
We played only 7 games at home. I think we won something like 13 out of our last 14. It was phenomenal. In the cup, that is. And you just can't be prouder of these boys. They really did earn the right to deserve that. And we've proven and we've given us the team which we deserved, the win which we deserved. And it was a very impressive performance. Bully really stepped up on the game day.
Yeah.
Really stepped up. Played with Nalan Malas, which some would say is the world's easiest job in hockey. But Bully stepped up, bagged a goal to get it to 1-1, brought momentum back to us, and we just rolled from there, really. Malas was great. Now was great. Gale scored a naughty snipe. Colby scored one of my favourite goals of the season. And Swindon Wildcats, we are rolling. Choo
Yeah.
choo.
We're in the semi-finals. Now we'll go on to the semi-finals. So there's a bit of controversy. There's a bit of beef on Twitter, and I think everyone's been getting on the Nels back way too much. Because I think without the Nels, this league wouldn't run like it does, and I think it would be a bit of a car crash without them. Because they do so much for our league and one of the two biggest teams in the league. But there's been some controversy about whether Leeds should be the ones to pick. Because they finished top, and I think that's absolutely fine. I don't know about you two lads. I'll get you two lads' opinion on it, but Leeds picked Hull as their semi-final opponents, which means the Swindon Wildcats play against Milton Keynes in the semi-final. Dan, what was your take on it? Because I know there was some controversy, or not controversy. People were unsure on how it would work, whether it be first versus fourth, second versus third, or whether Leeds should pick. But I think it should be Leeds picking, and obviously it's come down to that. So what was your take on that?
Yeah, I think the top seed is picking. I think that's a good way of doing it. I think
Yeah.
it gives you that sort of added like congratulations for getting the top, because you get that choice of picking what team you want to play. And to be honest, the top four teams obviously all deserve to be there. So I think obviously it doesn't really matter who you play.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a hard game. The cup games are always tough because it is on the night and you just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't see there's any problem with top seed picking.
Yeah, Charlie, do you think there's? Well, I think there is. There is too much rubbish being talked about the Nels and Steve and saying he's trying to rig it and everything. I think that's a fair way of doing it. Leeds with the best team and they get to decide who they want to play.
Funny thing is, like, this has happened for like the last 4 years. And then suddenly when it bothered, and the only reason people are moaning, by the way, is because from what I can see, MK would rather play Hull than Swindon. Well, the fans would.
Yeah.
So they're just moaning because they didn't get to play Hull. When actually, like, from my point of view, I probably would have rather played Leeds because we're good against Leeds, home and away. But, you know, I don't really care. We're in a semi-final. You got to win your game to get through. If you don't win, you're out. If you win, you're through. It's as simple as that. You can't blame it because Leeds chose
Yeah. Either way, you're going to come against one of those two in the final anyway. So
you win it. The best wins it's like the best team will come out winning. I think sometimes people find something to moan about.
Yeah.
And so, you know, anyways, it is Leeds versus Hull and Swindon versus MK. And the fans on Twitter are sadly not going to change that.
Yeah. And the other little bit of rubbish was getting thrown around is the bans and the DOPs. Now, we talked about the DOPs in the last episode. Please do go check it out. I think, this is what I think, lads. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the DOPs account has gone quiet and it's now this new ice hockey account, which is actually doing all of the bans and putting it all on their website. They're still quite slow with it and the fans aren't getting any communication, which I think they need. Right now, because we don't really know about any players getting bans. Corey McKeown was back, pardon me, after one game. Balaz was back after one game and Gale was back after 2 games, but apparently it's the Swindon who get the bias. So I don't really know what's going on with this. I was talking to an MK fan yesterday and we said, just get Dave Cloutman. He is really unbiased. He just loves hockey and he was a former referee, so he'll know how to do it. I reckon he should sort out all the decisions. And yeah, Dan, that's just one name thrown out there, but someone just needs to come in and be able to give out these bans fairly, because there's no chart or no legal stuff saying how many bans they should get. It's just so complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. I was talking to a few fans the other day as well about it, and we were saying you almost need, like, a dream thing would be 3 people plus like more, but the main 3, you'd have an ex-referee, an ex-player, and then an experienced person who's been around the game, maybe like a commentator or a fan that's been around for a long time, like a mutual fan. just to sort of
Andrew
even it all
Day.
out. Yeah, exactly. You get Andrew Day on there.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll go on there.
Yeah, and sorry to butt in. I'll personally volunteer right now if you want me to do the social media stuff. Not deciding the bans because obviously I've got a bias, but I would be unbiased anyway. But I'll do all the social media stuff just to communicate with the fans. If you tell me what players getting a ban, I'll put it out there straight away and do a little picture for it or a little tweet. So I just wanted to put that out there. But carry on, Dan.
But yeah, I think, like I say, I think that's the best. That's the best trio you could have. You could have them three people. They'd all talk together. You'd have that one mutual fan that can sort of see if both sides are being fair. You've
Yeah.
obviously got the players' side from obviously playing the game, the ref sides from refing the game. I think that would be perfect. That would be the dream team of the
Yeah.
Dops.
I guess my only thing with this, and I'll ask you, Charlie, I just think you got to find the time for these people to do it because hockey games are quite regular and obviously they've got their other lives as well. And I'm assuming you've got to pay them as well. So yeah, there's those questions with it, but I 100% agree with you. They need to get three people who can just come together. Charlie, what's your take on it? Same as last time?
An ex-referee.
Okay.
Just one guy. Just pay him a bit of cash, and then get some guy who can
Cash in
tweet
hand
it
under
with
the
reason.
table.
And yeah, it's frustrating, but I had my rant last week.
Yeah, well, we've talked about the Dops. Go check out our last episode if you haven't. But yeah, that's that. Moving back to the team then in the league itself. Looking at the league, it is changed quite a bit for the Raiders. They have changed around in the past few weeks, haven't they? Or the past month, Dan. They're outside of a playoff spot, and now they are 7th in the table, and they're picking up quite a few wins at the moment. What do you think's been the turning point for the Raiders?
I think I think it's just their injuries. They're starting to get players back. They're starting to. You see TJ Anderson getting on the score sheet a lot.
Hat trick the
You're getting
other week.
getting a bit more depth scoring. I've always been a fan of good depth, and I've always said that depth is what gets you wins.
Yeah.
Obviously, having three lines that can play good hockey is
Yeah.
always a positive, and you can just roll the three lines with fitness and like skill. But yeah, I think they're just managing to find the net a bit. You've got Norcliffe getting in there as well.
Yeah.
He's managing to get a few goals. You just got a lot more of a even score lines throughout the team.
Yeah,
you got a lot more depth.
Charlie, I'm going to blow your trumpet again. Oh, that sounds quite bad, actually. But in terms of you bigged up TJ Anderson before the season, and he has been phenomenal these past 2 weeks. He is definitely a little talent, isn't he?
The guy knows how to score goals, and when a player's got the ability to put it in the back of the net, he'll do well in this league, especially as a Brit. And then another guy who's doing really well is Briley Caps. He's 16 years old. He got his first goal. And then another big reason, which people may not know about, but Pevkost, one of the new Raiders import, which kind of went under the radar a bit. He's playing D-man, and he's got 17 points from D.
Oh,
so
wow.
He is destroying it at D-man, and maybe that D-man was the guy they needed, because I think from seeing their fans on social media, they did say that they were struggling in the defensive zone, and now they've got all three imports. They've got a bit more consistency with who's in the squad, and I can imagine the lines are flowing. And at the start of the season, I predicted these boys to do really well. I really liked the Raiders squad. It just took a little bit of time to get going, and now they're going and they're challenging Peterborough, and they're getting some good results together.
Yeah. You mentioned Brindley Caps there. I've got two players just to say a big well done to. Brindley Caps obviously getting his first goal. I think 16 years old, isn't he, Charlie? Or was he 15?
Yeah, 16.
16. And then Toran Anderson as well for Peterborough. He got his first goal against Milton Keynes as well. So well done to them too for getting their first goals. And we'll move on to Milton Keynes. We watched them yesterday against Swindon, the away game. We'll quickly mention the first one because the Wildcats did beat them at our rink. We beat them 5-3. And it was a comfortable game, wasn't it, lads? We absolutely outplayed them. We did outplay them on our own rink, and Nell line matched them so well. And yeah, Dan, it was just a complete performance in that home game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really good game. me and Charlie were talking throughout the game, and I think we were right. The only times that MK looked dangerous was on the power play, and that was because they had the space. Obviously, they needed to look for that space on a small rink, and the only way they could get that was on the power play. I think Swindon really defended well, kept them wide. They couldn't really get any shots off in the slot. They couldn't really pass into the slot.
Yeah.
And I think the most dangerous line is that Lawrence, Venus, and Herman.
Yeah.
And I think Swindon shut that down really well.
Yeah.
And it was a really good game to watch, to be fair.
100%. It was a really good game. Malas scored a beautiful goal. I know we talk about him a lot, but he undressed Curly. It was a brilliant goal. Charlie, but it was a bit of a different game on the yesterday, New Year's Day. MK winning 5-1. I think the score flatters itself a bit because I didn't think we were actually that bad. I thought the first two periods we created a lot of chances, we just couldn't score. But MK, they are just too strong on their home ice, aren't they? They got so much space.
Yeah, they deserve the win. We had chances.
They did, yeah.
And to be honest, we were tired. I obviously I'm not here to make excuses. Credit where credit's due. Unlike some MK fans, I generally do think MK were really, really good on that Monday, sorry. And they deserve the win. And they were a great team. They're very good on their home ice. Ross Green had a great game.
Yeah, he was good.
And just defensively, they protected Curlin. They kept us to minimal chance and took their chances. And yeah, again, that top line just tears teams apart. It is scary to watch in defence. And in the third period, when we were tired, they took advantage. And yeah, they're a good team, MK. And I think they'll be disappointed that they didn't quite turn up in Swindon and that we shut them down that badly. Because I did turn it down when there was 15 minutes to go. If you remember this, and I said to Dan, I don't think we're going to lose this. And we were only 2 goals up. I said, I don't see us losing this. I said, MK look like they just don't know what to do against us. And so I think for MK, they'll be very happy with the result, obviously, in their rink. But there'll be this little, we need to figure out how to beat Swindon Leeds in their rink.
Yeah, 100%. I think the smaller rinks, they're just not used to playing on them as much. And I guess they practice on those big ice pads. And they are very, very good on their ice pads. I'm a bit nervous for that cup semi-final. I'm sure Swindon, but we had opportunities. It's not like we got battered. I thought if we'd taken our chance, it could have been a different game. Charlie's gone somewhere, but Dan, we'll move on to Leeds. They are a team which can perform anywhere pretty much. I know they haven't won in MK, but they've given them good games. They've only lost 3 games this season. And they absolutely thumped Sheffield 5-1 and 9-3. They are just a wagon at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they're unbelievable. It's just, I think I say it every podcast, it's just the way they just never give up.
Yeah.
They just always, like Charlie says as well, they always find a way. And that's the difference between, I think, Leeds and MK. That difference, obviously, in the games that they play, and that is the difference, is that Leeds just always find a way. Wherever they are, they'd always find a way of doing it. And they always do it in the best way as well.
Yeah,
it's always either like an overtime or
they
anything.
They don't even have a third import at the moment. Obviously, Conga left the night, so we're still waiting to see if Leeds will sign that third import. And I have no doubts they will do because they'll probably need that big player to play in those cup semi-final and coming up to Coventry as well. Charlie, you're back. We're just talking about the Leeds Knights and how good they are. It's not just the attacking, though. Defensively, they are the best team in the league as well. And that starts with Sam Gospel, doesn't it? Can you see Leeds getting beaten by losing many more games?
Yeah, I do. I do, actually.
Oh.
I think Hull, Raiders, Swindon, MK, Peterborough, I think all of them rinks right now are really tough rinks to go to. And I can see any of them teams I've just mentioned sneaking results past Leeds. I do rate Leeds. I do think they're very good. And they are the best team in the league at the moment. But like MK against Swindon, I do think they're just susceptible at times. I think Leeds aren't quite as... I may be wrong, but I don't think they're quite as powerful in the attacking zone as they were last year, especially now they've lost Conga. And I think if Sammy Gospel, and it doesn't happen much, has that dip, I think there will be some losses coming up for Leeds in the next month or two. and I think there will be opportunities for Milton Keynes to get back in it, because I do think the league is. I think every team in the league is improving, like Solway at their rink, etc. So I
Yeah.
think I'm not saying as a whole, not just Leeds.
No, I
I
agree
think
with you.
we'll start to see more losses for teams, because I think teams are just getting stronger.
You've just led
That's
right
scenario.
into my next point I had on here. And that was, I've literally written it down here. So many different teams are winning games. No one can really get into a streak rolling except Leeds. But obviously, you've just mentioned there that every team is progressing and they're getting better. Raiders are getting better. Solway are getting better. And Dan, that's just the brilliance of this season compared to last season, because I think every team can win at any given moment, can't they?
Yeah, they can. It's a very competitive league. There's a lot of great players in every team.
Yeah.
All these teams have got them players that can win games for them.
Yeah.
Some teams have got more of them than others, obviously, but yeah, it is a really good league to sort of be watching and seeing all the games, because you can just never call it.
Yeah.
Like MK coming to Swindon, if you were looking at the points wise and looking at their form
Yeah.
and look at their team, you'd think, oh, that's MK easily. But it's just the tactical way of looking at the game is you can never call who's going to win,
No.
because you never know what's going to happen until it happens.
No, there's been so many results in the past couple of weeks, especially around Christmas. Telford go and beat Solway 3-0, but then they lose 5-4 to Sheffield after being 4-1 up. So there's just so many different games. Phantoms, they won last night against the Raiders, but they lost back-to-back against MK. So there's just teams can't really seem to get in a rhythm, and that's why I credit the Wildcats so much recently, because we've picked up, what was it, Charlie? It was 11 points from 16, and we've played MK twice, Leeds and Hull. So yeah, this league is so competitive. Just looking at the table before we get into our quiz, obviously Leeds are top of the table. They are on joint points as MK, but they've played 2 more games than them. So Leeds are on 27, MK are on 29. The Peterborough Phantoms are above Swindon by 1 point, but they've played 2 more games. And then looking at the bottom of the table, Sheffield, Solway, and Bristol are the 3 teams outside of playoffs. And Bees in 8th are only 2 points above Sheffield, but Sheffield have 2 games in hand. So it's literally within 2 games, lads, and a few points. Charlie, I know you don't like getting thrown under the bus, but right now, which team would you say out of, let's say, Telford, Raiders, Bees, Sheffield, Solway, and Bristol, do you see 100% making the playoffs? Because any of them could make it at the moment.
Raiders, Telford.
Raiders, Telford, those are your guarantees.
Yeah, Telford, Archie Hazeldine signing solid.
Oh yeah, I
They've
forgot
got,
to mention that. Yeah,
they've got solid things. And Ben Callahan, Tyler Plews signed a 2-year deal with the Swindon Wildcats. What signing that is, boys? What do you think of that one, Dan?
yeah, we forgot to mention it. Go on, Dad.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing. It's also another thing that I wanted to say is a bit like, obviously, with the Blockley Nordstrom signing for
Oh yeah,
Peterborough.
yeah.
It is such a good thing for the teams and the league to be able to sign these players on multiple year deals, because it
Yeah,
shows that the team is very organised in what they're doing, and
yeah.
they've expanded well, and they're able to do these signings and sort of guarantee that they can play
That's
for
a good
these
point.
coming years.
To be fair, Swindon have actually been a team who's released their signings early and have done a couple year deals, haven't they? They've done it with Malazinski, they've done it with Rennie Marr. And yeah, I agree with you, Dan, actually. Teams getting these players on contracts. Leeds have done it with Kieran Brown and Gospel. They've put them on 2-year contracts as well. Charlie, that's actually a really good point from Dan, and it just shows the league's going in the right direction. I know we rant and I know we think of things which the league can improve in, but it does show the league's in a decent state at the moment compared to what it was a couple seasons ago.
It's definitely in a decent state, and it's exciting seeing the National League develop and grow. But
Yeah.
back onto Jack's point, because that was a smooth transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Telford, I just think their depth-wise, they're really good. I like Telford, and I like Tom Watkins. And yeah,
Raiders.
Raiders, yeah, they're going to keep rolling now. I think they'll finish 6th quite comfortably.
Oh, okay.
I think they'll get going now. And then the other team I predict to get playoffs is Solway Sharks.
Wow. And
Um, I,
we didn't really
I didn't
mention it on the
predict them.
last podcast, but Callie Robertson on his debut for Solway, I think or it might have been his home debut, getting 2 big goals in the comeback against Hull. He's been really good. And I think that is a signing, Dan. I think we talked about it. That's a signing which could actually edge him into playoffs because he is a goal scorer.
Yeah, I think it's a signing that should have been made in the off season. Still, to be honest, I think it should have. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
He's obviously loving it there, and I don't blame him either. He will be loving it. If I was a Scottish lad playing for a Scottish team at home, I'll be loving it as well.
Yeah, 100%. Charlie, have you got anything to add? Because I want to get into this quiz because it is a banger. It's a mid-season quiz, and I want everyone at home to play along as well. So have you got anything to add, Charlie?
We're going to the semis.
Right, let's get into this quiz then. So I've got 10 questions about this season so far. There's quite a few easier ones, and then it gets progressively harder, or there's some answers which you wouldn't think maybe it's not the obvious one. So yeah, lads, are you ready for the first question? And
yes, people playing at home, pause now, whatever, get your notepad out and tweet us, tag us on Instagram, whatever, with what you get out of 10 as well.
100%. That's a good point. Right, lads, the first question. Who is the top point scorer? As we're recording this, after 29 games or 27 for some teams, who's the top point scorer in the league? Write it down and I'll give you a couple seconds. And there's a bonus if you can name how many points. And no cheating at home as well. I don't want anyone cheating. I'm literally going to give you about 10 seconds, lads. So the top point scorer of the league and how many points has this player got?
Is that bonus points for getting the points?
Yeah, if you get the points bang on, how many it is.
Okay.
So have you both got a
I
player
get a bit
written
competitive, so
Yeah.
Both got one down?
yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
Dan,
yeah.
I'm going to start with you. Who have you got as the top point scorer?
I've gone with Ross Venus.
Okay, Charlie, who have you got?
Oh, we're not doing. Okay.
I'll do the points in a sec.
Yeah.
Venus, right, that is correct. So you've both guaranteed a point. Dan, will come to you. How many points do you reckon it is?
I put 62.
62, Charlie, what have you got?
I put 61.
Oh, you're both wrong. It is 64 points because of last night's game. He picked up a couple points. Kieran Brown, actually, this is quite crazy. Ross Venus, I think, has played 29 games. Kieran Brown's played 25 and he's got 62. So he's 2 points off Venus. He's played 4 less games. But yeah, that's a point each for you. If you got that at home, 64 points. Well done. I know one man who's probably got it, and that is JB, the MK fan, because he absolutely loves his stats. Question number 2 then. Which team has lost the most overtimes / penalty shootouts? With 5. Oh. They've lost 5. Pick a team. Which team has lost the most overtimes / penalty shots? So yeah, we'll just call it overtimes.
Oh, flip me, that's hard.
Couple to jot down. Just one team.
Oh,
it's one team, yeah?
Yeah, one team. I'm going to push you for our answer because we don't want loads of silence.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be honest, when I was writing these questions, I was shocked by a few of them. So yeah, right. Charlie, I'll come to you first. Pardon me, this is Pepsi Max. Charlie, I'll come to you first.
Peterborough Phantoms.
Okay. Okay, Dan, what's your answer?
Solway Sharks.
Oh, okay. I know they go to overtime a lot, but the answer, you are both wrong. It is the Raiders. The Raiders, 5 overtime losses this season. That is rough. That is unlucky as well. Because I think, especially penalty shots, it just literally goes to flipping a coin. Right. Question number 3. Who has the most penalty minutes as of now in the whole league? You've got to right. This isn't just 2 minutes. You've got to take in consideration of bans and 5-minute plus game penalties as well. So yeah, which player has the most penalty minutes in the league? I'll give you a couple seconds to jot that down. It's still 1-1 as well between you two. I'm just going to check how much this player has actually. Right, have you both got an answer?
I do, yeah.
Both got an answer. Right, Dan, I'm going to come to you first.
Harvey Stead.
Okay, what? Because of the ban?
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's an all right answer, Charlie. Who have you gone with?
Pekka.
Point to Charlie. Pekka.
Yeah, that's a good.
I think it's because of the two bans. He is on 85 penalty minutes at the moment. So well done if you got that. Has it been unlucky? Has the bans been unlucky? Who knows? Because stops are rubbish now. I'm not going to call them out. Right, 2-1 to Charlie. Question number 4. The Hull Seahawks averaged the most shots on goal per game, but how many is their average? And I'm going to give you within the closest 2. All right, I'm going to give you the closest 2. So how many shots on average do they have on goal per game?
Oof.
And I'm going to give you within
Per
2.
game.
Right. And they are the league leaders by quite a bit as well. Right. Have you both got an answer written down?
Yeah.
Nice. Charlie, I'm going to go to you first.
40.
Okay. Dan, what have you got?
36.
Charlie, 3-1. It is 40
Oh
exactly. Well done, Charlie. 40 shots on goal per game. I was actually quite shocked about that.
He's cheating.
Fair enough. Charlie didn't even need the within 2. So, Charlie, you are 3-1 up. Question number 5, the halfway question. Which team has the best power play percentage in the league and a bonus point if you can name the exact percentage? And I've rounded it up or down depending. So, yeah. Which team has the best power play percentage and what is the percent? We've not got too long left, so I'm going to have to rush you, lads.
Yep.
Questions. Right. Charlie, I'll come to you first then. What have you got?
Wildcats, 30%.
Okay. Dan, what have you got?
MK, 31%.
Oh, okay. Charlie, he's running away with it here. It's the Swindon Wildcats.
Mate.
But he don't get the bonus point. It's 32% still. 32.22% for the Swindon Wildcats. Well done if you got that at home. That is 4-1 to Charlie.
Yeah. I've only got
4-1
2.
to Charlie.
I've only got one question wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Question
Sorry.
number 6. Which team has conceded the most short-handed goals, and bonus point if you can guess how many? Which team has conceded the most short-handed goals? This is really just a little pick it out of a hat, really. Right, I'm going to give you a few more seconds to write a team down.
Yeah, I got it.
And have you got a number as well for how many?
Yeah, you don't get the number if you don't get the team. That's
okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
You got to get the team.
That's really hard then to get the bonus. Right. Dan, have you got
So we're doing a team, and then how many
short-handed goals it is this season?
Okay.
Have you got
I've
it?
got a team.
Right, Dan, will come to you first.
I'm going to go Raiders.
Okay. And how
and then
many?
Do you want the goals as well?
Yeah, go on.
5.
5. Charlie, what's the team and how many?
Phantoms, 4.
Dan gets a point. It is the Raiders. The Raiders with 7 short-handed goals.
7 short.
Yeah, 7 short-handed. So yeah, Dan, you get the point. That is 4-2. Can we see a comeback? I do have a bonus point as well, I think. Yes, I do. Right. Question number 7. What jersey number does Duncan Spears from the Peterborough Phantoms wear? Write the jersey number down. Bit of a rogue one. What jersey number is Duncan Spears? Charlie, have you got one?
Yeah, is Dan written his down though?
Dan, have you written
I've got mine down. Yeah.
Actually, both say it at the same time then. We're going to do that. Right. 3, 2, 1.
38.
Okay, that's both a point. You both get a point. Fair enough. That is 5-2, though, to Charlie. Right, number 8. Lawrence, Venus, and Herman are MK Lightning's top point scorers on the same line. They are an absolute joke. But who is their next top point scorer after that? And how many points for a bonus point? Right, I'll give you a few seconds for that one. Who is MK's top point scorer after Venus, Herman, and Lawrence? And how many points? Yeah, how many points? I'm going to have to rush you guys for an answer because we've got 2 more questions after this.
Are you ready, Dan?
Yep.
No, I'm
right,
ready.
Charlie, you go first.
Wallace, 40.
Okay, Dan, what have you got and how many?
Wallace, 48.
Oh, it is Wallace, so you both get a point. Wallace is on 35 points, though. So, yeah, Dylan Lawrence is actually on 45. So he's not even got 48 yet. But, yeah, that Venus Herman Lawrence line is a joke. Is that 6-3? It's 6-3 to Charlie. Dan, I don't know if you can actually get a comeback here, but 6-3. Question number 9. Which player has the most game-winning goals? This is not goal score, game-winning goals. So, for example, I know you two will understand, but for example, for the people at home, this is the goal which gets them the win, if in a way. So if it ends 5-2, it's the third goal, if you get what I mean. It's the game-winning goal. Which player in the league has got the most game-winning goals?
I'll say mine second.
Okay, Dan, have you got yours?
Yeah, go on.
All right, you first. Go.
John Dunbar.
Oh, what? I was
Oh,
going to have
what's-
fun with mine.
Okay,
Gotta raise the
Charlie.
bar. It's John Dunbar.
No, it is not John Dunbar. He has got 4 game-winning goals. A lot of them will be in overtime, but it is Luke Ferrara from the Peterborough Phantoms. So fair enough to Luke Ferrara. Big game player, big game player. Right, the last question, number 10. Which player has the most power play goals? This is, I'd say, a tricky one in the way that you wouldn't expect it. So which player has the most power play goals? Right, Dan, Charlie, have you both got an answer?
Yeah.
I know the answer.
Right, Charlie, who's this?
He knows it.
Luca.
Dan?
Oh, I was going to go with Lawrence.
Lawrence, it is Luca. Well done, Charlie.
He
That
knew
is
it.
good
So.
knowledge. Did you
He
see the
knew
stats
it.
somewhere, did you?
No, I just was like, Luca, Telford power play. That's where he bags.
Ah, fair enough. Luca's got 10 power play goals. And number 2, just a shout out. Number 2, lads, can you guess who number 2 is with 9?
Malazinski.
Nope.
Oh.
Dan?
No.
Nope. It's Riley McRae with 9 power play goals. And he wasn't here at the start of the season. So fair enough to Riley McRae.
That makes up for the 7 short-handed goals.
Yeah, that is the quiz. That is our quiz, 10-question quiz. I think Charlie wins that 7-3. So well done, Charlie. Let us know in the comments how many did you get out of 10. We appreciate everyone who's tuned into the podcast and listened to all of our podcasts this year. 2024 is set to be a really, really good year for the podcast. Go follow our social medias at Macca's Talk Hockey. We appreciate you listening to this episode as well, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye-bye.